You won't become rich until you understand this paradox. Look at these marbles. They represent every millionaire in America. Now, here's what will shatter everything you believe about wealth. Only 31% of these millionaires ever earned more than $100,000 per year during their entire careers. Even more shocking, 79% received zero inheritance from their parents or family. So, if high salaries don't create millionaires and family money isn't the answer, what invisible force separates those who build wealth from those who stay trapped in financial mediocrity their entire lives? The answer lies in 4 questions that will either liberate your mind or keep you enslaved to paycheck-to-paycheck living forever. We've been sold the greatest lie in modern society, that you need to earn more to become more. It's the reason why over half of Americans earning 6 figures still live paycheck to paycheck, drowning in their own abundance. It's why lottery winners go bankrupt, why athletes earning millions end up broke, and why your neighbor making $40,000 a year might retire wealthier than your boss making $200,000. The ancient Stoics understood something we've forgotten in our consumer-obsessed world. Wealth isn't about what flows through your hands, but what remains in your control. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the Roman Empire, wrote that we suffer more in imagination than reality. Today, we suffer financially more from our beliefs about money than from our actual circumstances. This isn't another get-rich-quick scheme or budgeting lecture. This is about rewiring the operating system of your mind to think like those 79% who built wealth from nothing, while everyone around them made excuses. Epictetus, who went from slave to one of history's greatest philosophers, taught us the fundamental principle that governs all human suffering and success. Some things are within our control, others are not. He said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. But here's where most people misunderstand this wisdom. They think it means living like a monk, denying themselves everything. That's not control, that's fear. True financial control is understanding that you have exactly 2 levers in your financial life, and mastering these 2 levers is the difference between financial freedom and financial slavery. Your salary isn't one of these levers. Your boss isn't one of these levers. The economy, inflation, your parents' mistakes, your past failures, none of these are your levers. You have been given 2 and only 2 instruments of power, what comes in and what goes out. But most people spend their entire lives trying to control everything except these 2 levers, which is why they die broke despite decades of complaining about their circumstances. The millionaire mind operates differently. It focuses obsessively on what it can control and becomes indifferent to what it cannot. This shift in focus is the first transformation you must undergo. First question: do you have positive cash flow, and do you understand why this matters more than your salary? Let me show you something that will change how you see time and money forever. An 18-year-old with just $250 positive cash flow per month will retire with over $1 million. A 25-year-old with $500 per month will accumulate $1.3 million. But a 50-year-old with $3,000 per month, they'll fall short at $950,000. Time is the hidden multiplier that most people discover too late. The Stoics called this understanding the nature of impermanence. Everything is temporary, including your youth, but the decisions you make in your youth echo through eternity. This isn't about math, it's about identity. The person who can create positive cash flow of $250 is demonstrating they understand the fundamental law of wealth. You must live below your means, not at your means. This simple discipline separates the wealthy from the wannabes more than any other factor. But here's where most people get stuck. They focus on the wrong lever. They think, I need to earn more, when the real question is, who do I need to become to control what I already have? A person earning $30,000 who saves $250 is demonstrating different character than a person earning 100,000 who saves nothing. The wealthy understand that cash flow isn't about deprivation. It's about priorities. They've trained their minds to distinguish between wants and needs, between status and substance, between immediate gratification and delayed satisfaction. This is why someone earning 40,000 can out-accumulate someone earning 100,000. Your homework isn't to earn more tomorrow. Your homework is to find $250 in your current life that you're wasting on things that don't serve your future self. Cancel those streaming subscriptions you forgot about. Eliminate restaurant delivery fees. Stop buying coffee you could make at home. Cut high-interest debt that's bleeding you dry. The millionaire mind thinks differently about debt. If someone offered you a guaranteed 27% annual return on investment, you'd think they were crazy. But that's exactly what you're giving credit card companies when you carry a balance. Pay off high-interest debt first. It's the highest guaranteed return you'll ever get. But here's what separates you from everyone else watching this video. Are you actually going to do this, or just nod along and change nothing? Pause and ask yourself, where is your money leaking today? Second question, do you divide your income strategically, or do you let it flow wherever it wants? Seneca, one of Rome's wealthiest men, taught that every new thing excites the mind, but a mind that seeks the truth turns inward. Most people's money flows outward toward every shiny object, every social pressure, every emotional impulse. The wealthy have learned to turn their money inward toward assets that serve their future selves. Here's the strategic division that builds wealth: 50% for needs, 30% for wants, 20% for investments. But this isn't just arithmetic, it's philosophy in action. 50% for needs means being brutally honest about what you actually need to survive and thrive. Housing, utilities, food, transportation, healthcare. Not Netflix, not your daily coffee shop habit, not the car payment that impresses people you don't even like. True needs. 30% for wants is where most people lose control. They think wants are unlimited, so they let this category expand to consume everything. The wealthy think differently. They see wants as a reward for discipline, not a right. They enjoy life, but within boundaries they set for themselves. But the 20% for investments, this is where transformation happens. This money is never spent, it's planted. Like seeds in soil, it grows into trees that bear fruit for decades. Notice I said investments, not savings. Saving is for purchases, investing is for wealth building. When you save for a vacation, you're planning to destroy that money for temporary pleasure. When you invest, you're planting money that will multiply and serve you forever. This 20% should buy assets, things that appreciate in value or generate passive income. Stocks, real estate, developing your skills, starting a business. Never touch this money for consumption. This is your wealth-building engine. Most people reverse this priority. They spend freely on wants, stretch their needs beyond necessity, and invest whatever's left over, which is usually nothing. The wealthy do the opposite. They invest first, control their wants, and minimize their needs. This reversal of priority is what creates the millionaire mind. If you mapped your last month's expenses, would they reflect your priorities or your impulses? Third question, do you have a side business, and do you understand why this accelerates everything? Aristotle said we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence is not an act, but a habit. Building wealth isn't just about saving money from your job. It's about developing the habits and skills of someone who creates value in the world. Your job pays you for your time. Your side business pays you for your results. This difference is everything. In your job, you're limited by hours. In your side business, you're limited only by the value you create and the problems you solve. But here's the deeper truth. A side business isn't just about extra money. It's about becoming someone who thinks like an owner instead of an employee. Employees ask, "What's the minimum I can do?" Owners ask, "What's the maximum value I can create?" Let's say you work in marketing. Instead of just complaining about your salary, start offering your marketing skills to small businesses on weekends. Maybe you're a teacher. Could you tutor online? A craftsman. Could you sell your creations on Etsy? A mechanic. Could you offer mobile repair services on weekends? Don't charge by the hour. Charge based on results. This changes everything. You're no longer selling time. You're selling transformation. Your income potential becomes unlimited because it's tied to the value you create, not the hours you work. If you don't have skills yet, develop them. Learn copywriting, social media marketing, web design, bookkeeping, video editing, online tutoring, skills that businesses desperately need and will pay premium prices for. What skill could you start learning this week that could become your side business next year? Here's the wealth acceleration. If you can generate an extra $1,000 per month from your side business and invest it at 7% annual returns, you'll accumulate over $1 million in 28 years. But more importantly, you'll develop the mindset and skills of someone who creates wealth instead of just hoping someone else will give it to you. The wealthy understand that job security is an illusion. The only real security comes from your ability to create value for others. Your side business is your laboratory for developing this ability. And here's the question that will determine your next 5 years. Are you going to keep trading time for money, or are you ready to start trading value for wealth? Fourth question, is your money working harder than you are? Here's where most people's financial education ends and their financial transformation begins. Everything we've discussed so far means nothing if your money just sits in a savings account earning 1%, while inflation steals 3% of its value every year. The S&P 500 has averaged 11% annual returns over the past 50 years. Even if we're conservative and use 7%, your money doubles every 10 years. Past performance doesn't guarantee future results, but history shows the power of time and discipline. When you buy an S&P 500 index fund, you're not betting on individual companies. You're betting that humans will continue to solve problems, create value, and build businesses that serve other humans. This has been true for over a century, through wars, recessions, panics, and every crisis you can imagine. The key is time and consistency. No one has ever lost money investing in the S&P 500 for 20 years or more. Ever. But most people can't think 20 years ahead because they're trapped in short-term thinking. The wealthy think in decades. They understand that wealth building is like planting an oak tree. You plant it not for yourself, but for the person you'll become 20 years from now. You water it consistently, not because you see results today, but because you trust the process. Start with tax-advantaged accounts, 401k, Roth IRA, traditional IRA in the US, ISA in the UK, RRSP in Canada, whatever your country offers. These accounts let you avoid taxes on your investments, which dramatically accelerates your wealth building. If your employer offers matching contributions, contribute at least enough to get the full match. This is free money, the only guaranteed 100% return you'll ever find. Then automate everything. Set up automatic transfers from your checking account to your investment account. Automate your investments into low-cost index funds like Vanguard S&P 500, Fidelity Total Market, or Schwab Total Stock Market. Remove your emotions and your ability to make poor decisions in the moment. The millionaire mind automates good decisions and makes bad decisions difficult. Poor people make wealth building complicated and spending easy. Wealthy people make wealth building automatic and spending intentional. But let me ask you something that will test everything we've discussed. If you started investing today, would you have the discipline to never touch that money for 20 years? Your answer reveals whether you think like an employee or an owner. Can you trust yourself to plant a tree you'll only see grown in 20 years? Now you understand why 79% of millionaires built wealth without inheritance, and why 31% did it earning less than $100,000 per year. It was never about the money. It was about who they became in relationship to money. They became people who controlled their cash flow instead of being controlled by it. They became people who made strategic decisions about every dollar instead of hoping things would work out. They became people who created value through side businesses instead of just complaining about their bosses. They became people who made their money work as hard as they did instead of letting it sit idle. The question isn't whether you can become wealthy on a low salary. The question is whether you're willing to become the type of person who builds wealth regardless of salary. This is an identity shift, not a financial strategy. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." The same is true for wealth. Very little is needed to build wealth. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking about money, time, value, and your role in creating the life you want. You now have the blueprint. You know the 4 questions. You understand the 2 levers you control. The only question remaining is, who will you become? Someone who makes excuses about why wealth building is impossible, or someone who focuses on what they can control and builds their fortune one disciplined decision at a time? Your future self is watching. Make them proud. Stop here for a moment. If you've watched this far, you're already different from 90% of people who clicked on this video. You're not just consuming content, you're investing in your mental transformation. That alone puts you ahead of most people who will spend their entire lives making excuses about why wealth building is impossible. If this shifted something in your mind, tell me in the comments. Which of these 4 questions hit you the hardest? Where do you need to make the biggest change? Your comment isn't just feedback. It's your public commitment to transformation. And if you're ready to continue rewiring your millionaire brain, subscribe and join a community of people who refuse to accept financial mediocrity. Hit that notification bell because the next video will reveal the psychological tricks that keep most people broke even when they know what to do. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Because the greatest wealth you can build isn't just financial, it's the wealth of knowledge you pass on to others. Remember, before you can have wealth, you must be someone who creates and keeps wealth. That transformation starts now. Welcome to the Millionaire Brain community.